First, what we're going to do is called a magic circle. So if you've done any crocheting, this might be familiar to you. We're going to loop our main raffia around. So we've got approximately about a centimetre thick. And then we're going to look out for any short bits, just pull them out. Loop that around and to make a magic circle. So we're going to bind the raffia here where it crosses over. So now pick your coloured piece of raffia. First thing we're going to do is bind it, and then we'll put our needle on. Okay, so what we're doing is we're getting this raffia, we're crossing it over, we're going to make a slip knot here just to bind it. So we're pulling, making a loop, pulling this string through here and then pulling it tight. That's the beginning of your magic circle. Now, just trim off your end here. This will join the rest of your circle, however. Okay. Now, we're going to grab our needle, put our circle down, grab our needle, and we're going to thread the raffia into the needle. A darning needle, embroidery needle will work fine. So we're going to trim the ends off to make it a little bit easier. Grab your needle, thread your coloured raffia through, and that's what we're going to be leaving with. Okay. Now, we will be going right to left here. If you're left-handed, you can go the other way, whichever works best for you. So again, we're doing here what's called a blanket stitch. If you've done any sewing, you may know this, but we're doing a similar thing to the slip knot. So we're taking our needle, we're putting it through the magic circle here, which creates a loop. We pull the needle through that loop and we pull tight, as you can see here. Now we're going to keep doing this a few times, 5 or 6 times will do. And then we're going to pull that magic circle tighter so we can get the start of our coaster. Pull this nice and tight. Be careful not to pull too tight or you could snap your raffia. If you do, it's not a problem. You can just start again or hold down this piece of raffia and add a new piece and start with a slip knot. I'm just going to do 2 more and then I'm going to start pulling this magic circle tighter. And a nice tight base to our coaster or the beginning of our basket. Okay, now hold your weaving that you've just done with one thumb and I want you to pull these tail ends here and you'll see the circle starts to shrink, which is exactly what we want. So now it's this small. Keep pulling till you get it nice and small. Now I want you to spread some of that weaving around because you want to start getting a curve there. Pull again as tight as you can get it, but you want to still be able to weave through. You're going to do a few more repetitions. Nice and tight here. Going around this loop here, you can see I'm pulling all of these long tails around to continue that circle. Again, do 5 to 10, as many as you feel comfortable with. Until it starts to come around that corner. See, you're starting to get a nice circle there. I'm just going to do a couple more and I'll pull my magic circle tighter again. to get it really tight for a nice base, and then we'll continue to turn our circle round until we start getting to our next layer. Don't be worried if you have any pieces that might need trimming later. This is not a problem. Just keep going and then you can trim them when you're finished. All right, I'm going to pull my magic circle again, make it nice and tight, holding onto my weaving and then pulling. There we go. Yeah, that's starting to come around really nicely. You can see that curve. Okay, just a couple more before I start joining these up to get around to the second section here. Careful not to lose your raffia out of your needle. You can see these tails here are starting to join together. They will be making our second loop around. So just keep going until you've almost got them nice and tight. If you feel like you need to pull your circle again, go ahead and do that. We want to have it nice and tight here. So this is a nice small hole that you've got poking through. I'm just going to do a few more here. I want to get these tails tight together so they join nicely. I'm pulling my raffia quite tight, so I want enough of the green here showcased. Okay, probably one more, and we've got a nice loop, and these tails can start to be connected to the next row. Go, pull that nice and tight. Now you can see I almost have a complete circle there to make it nice pretty shape. Pull my weaving all around. There you go. Right, now these tails here are going to be the connection to your next row here. So pulling tight, I want to twist these around just so they're connecting up to each other. Now what we're going to do here is a little different now. We want to connect into the holes that we've created here. You can see there's one here, a nice big one because it's not so tight. Okay, so we're going to be pulling this around, and you want to find on the back side there your first loop. So they might be a little tight, just wiggle your needle through there. Okay, so there we're going to have another loop. You can see that's starting to get created again. Pull that through. Pull your raffia through. There we go. Pull it through that loop and then pull that tight. And you can see that's starting to connect that circle all the way around. Now put 2 circles through each hole that you find that you've created to keep that circle growing. Okay. Pulling it through. This one's kind of tight. Okay. And then you continue around as you were through each hole. Do one more to demonstrate. So if it's hard to find, turn yours over and put the needle through. Keep that tail nice and tight and pull your weaving through. You can see here we're starting to form our second row. 2 more and then you'll see a bit more of that second row. So again, flip it over to find that circle. As you get bigger, it'll be easier to do it without flipping it. Again, pulling it through, pulling that over and pulling it tight. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, this is starting to come around and attach into these circles. So do 2 loops per hole, that'll keep it nice and tight. There you go. So continue on around until you run out of tails. When you're starting to run out of tails, what you're going to do is, just got a little bit of excess here that I'm going to show you. Now, what you're going to do is attach on, imagine this is much longer, attach on your tail by grabbing your longest piece, smoothing that out, and really mixing it in with the rest of your tail. And you're going to use this long tail, as you can see, to wrap around, wrap around, wrap around. Just loosely to get it linked in with the rest of the tails. And then what you need to do is just tie a really loose knot here, just to keep it all together. There you go. That's how you add extra as you continue on. And as I said, if your colored raffia snaps, what you can do is, or you've run out, use another piece of green here, is you can pull this tail tight, and now you're going to need to secure it as we did in the beginning. Do a nice little loop here, okay, make it nice and tight. And if you put your needle through first, so you can actually connect it to the row below, otherwise it's going to come loose and you might have a little bit of trouble keeping your weave tight. Okay, so you've got your needle through again. Put your needle through one of the holes here. There you go. All right, pull this tail here, pull that through. All right, now create your loop on the back here, like so, as you're going to do a slip knot, and then pull this through nice and tight, holding both tails along, attached to the rest of your tail, pulling that through. And there, you've added some new green to your raffia. Okay, so making sure that tail is nice and tight, and then continue on. And once you go around 3 or 4 times, you'll have a lovely coaster that you can use. Thank you.